Hello, everyone. I'm Brad Livingstone, the First Gent of Baylor University, and welcome to First Take with the First Gent. My title is First Gent. It's a shortened version of the First Gentleman of Baylor University. The reason I have that title is that my wife, Dr. Linda Livingstone, is the president of Baylor University, and so she is the 15th president of Baylor University, and actually the very first female president in the 178-year history of Baylor University. So it's exciting to be here. Linda and I love to be involved with student activities whenever we can, so we're excited to be here. And I'm very excited to be with three of our incredible Baylor University students. And I want to introduce first Mason Jefferson, who's a junior from Houston. Mason is a biology pre-med major, which means Mason is a very intelligent individual. Actually, I've looked at all of these resumes, and they're all incredibly intelligent and incredibly gifted. Next, on my far right, we have Jillian Weingartner. Jillian is a senior business major from Shawnee, Oklahoma, a fellow Okie. All right, sick 'em Okies. So. And then finally we have Ben Eckert. Ben is a junior business fellow from Wheaton, Illinois, but also went to school here in Waco for a couple of years as well before you got to Baylor. So anyway, these students will have some questions for me, and I'll have some questions for them. We also want you to know that our admissions counselors are online right now in the chat room. If you have any questions that you need to get answered, please feel free to send those. They'll get some of those to us, or they'll be able to answer them immediately online. So we're excited that you're here. We know that continuing the next level of your education is a very, very important decision. And so we want you to ask those questions. We want to help answer some of those questions. And that's why all four of us are here today to help you out. So with that, let's get started, and I'm just going to throw it out. Who wants to go first?
I'll take it.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Livingstone.
All right, Ben.
Do you have a favorite spot here on campus?
A favorite location?
A favorite location, yes, sir.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot. Our campus, if you haven't been here, come and visit, is beautiful. It's an incredibly beautiful campus. But I call this place the hidden gem of Baylor University, and it's called the Armstrong Browning Library. You walk past the building and it's just a building. But then you see these massive bronze doors. And I remember the first time I went inside, it just took my breath away. You walk in and it actually has the largest collection of secular stained glass in the world. And then you walk into some of the areas and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like this should be somewhere in England or somewhere on the European continent. But there's a lot of really fun places. This, of course, this is the brand new Mark and Paula Hurd Welcome Center here on the Baylor campus. This just opened a few weeks ago. And this place is next level. This is an absolutely gorgeous place. Were any of you all here when it opened up? Did you go to the Howdy at the Herd?
Sure.
I heard that was no pun intended, that it was a phenomenal But anyway, the Armstrong Browning Library, and I highly recommend everyone, when you're on campus, make sure you go by and see that. It'll take your breath away.
Okay, absolutely.
All right. Anybody else have another question?
I've got one that's pretty interesting. So I know that obviously not everybody that comes to Baylor is incoming freshmen. We've got plenty of transfers as well. So is anybody able to talk about the transfer experience and a little bit about that?
Mason, you know I'm a transfer.
Take it away, Jillian.
All right, so I transferred my sophomore year from Oklahoma. And when I first came, obviously you're very nervous going to a new place, but Baylor just has so many resources for transfer students. We had our very own transfer success class, and then they also hosted a lot of transfer mixers, so you get to know other transfer students. Other than that, honestly, Baylor's community is just so inviting and welcoming. You will always talk to your classmates before class, which I love. I don't think I could go into an empty class or a full class and not talk. I'm a big talker, so it was really easy to just make friends everywhere I went. And then obviously joining organizations on campus was a great way to get involved as well, and start to see people you know, and then just feel more and more like home every day.
And Jillian, what were some of the organizations that you joined when you were, and you may have already said this, what year were you when you transferred in?
Right, I was a sophomore when I transferred in,
Okay.
and then I joined a sorority called Zeta Tau Alpha and Women in Business, and I also joined Young Life, which is like a ministry on campus.
Yeah,
So
fantastic, awesome. Anybody else have a question?
You want to follow up?
Oh yeah, I can ask a question now. So I'm sure everybody's heard about our Bears on campus.
Oh yeah.
The Superstars. Does anyone want to talk more about that?
Have you guys had a chance to see the Bears?
I've gone by. They're great.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love the Bears. We just got recently two new Bears, two new additions to the Baylor family. Indy and Belle, they are the cutest things ever. Every time I'm going home from after class, I'll stop by and come check them out. I have to, and they're just so cute. And so we introduced them back in May. And we kind of had a grand opening back in the spring, and then we had one here as well for them, introducing them into the bear habitat and everything like that. And it was super cool to be able to see these cute little bear cubs running around. They're super active. They love climbing. They love playing all the time, which is awesome too. So, and then we also do have Lady as well. Have to shout out my favorite bear. You know, she was here when I came as a freshman, and so always has a special place in my heart. But Lady as well. She's living in an off-campus facility. She's a little older in bear years, and so she's living every Baylor student's dream, going straight from graduation into retirement, and is living, in that off-campus facility. So having a great time over there as well. But.
Well, you know about their personalities, right?
Too, I do. So Indy, I believe, she is quite the active bear. She gets around, moves around a lot. You can see her climbing around and out well. Belle is a little bit of the opposite, actually. She likes to hang around a little bit more. She's a lot more of the chill side of bears, I guess, or as much as a Baylor bear can be. And so that as well.
And right now they're like puppies.
Yeah.
They're puppies with big claws and big fangs, so you want to keep your distance. And one of the great things about Baylor University is the bear habitat is actually a licensed and registered zoo. So I tell people, Indy, Belle, and even Lady on our off-campus site, those are the most spoiled bears on planet Earth. They get loved on and they get treated like royalty, like they should be. And but the cubs they play all the time. They're cousins, and boy, they are very active.
And Mr. Livingstone, who takes care of the bears?
The group that takes care of do you guys know the name of the organization?
Baylor Chamber of Commerce.
The Baylor Chamber of Commerce. That's right. And historically, that's the group that has always taken care of the bears. We've had live bear mascots for decades and decades and decades. That's part of our tradition. And so they take care of the bears. And what's really great, they're normal students like you guys. And they have chosen that they wanted to be a part of this. And so they actually help feed the bears. Now, of course, because they are wild animals, they're not like puppies, even though sometimes they play like puppies. There has to be that healthy disconnect from them just for safety reasons, for them and for the students. But it's 24/7 care. And so if you volunteer to be a part of that chamber, then it's a real dedicated time and a very loving time too. I mean, we hear stories of alums that were part of the chamber that took care of the bears, and there's a real connection there. It's life-changing.
That's great.
Very good. Yeah.
Mason, you got a question? You look like you have one.
Yeah, of course. Filled with questions. I love asking questions. But one thing that, another interesting thing, so I know that, Baylor is a Christian university. And so just like from, I know a lot of students, many students come in who are not Christian, you know, what is campus life like if you're coming in and you're not Christian or didn't grow up in a very strong Christian background? Can you still succeed? Can you still thrive at Baylor? Is that something that is available for students?
Well, I want both of you all definitely to answer that, but I want to jump in first and just say one of the questions that might come up, Baylor is unapologetically Christian. What exactly does that mean? It means that we don't apologize for stating and really pumping into students and really caring about their spiritual journey. And so we are a Christian institution, but you don't have to be a Christian. You do not have to be a follower of Jesus Christ to be a student here. And so I want to make sure that is clear. But know that is an important part of who Baylor is. And it's been an important part for almost 180 years. So that is something that is a part of who we are, and it's a very important part. But no, you do not have to be a follower of Jesus Christ to be a student here. But it's something that you definitely will get a chance to be a part of. So, guys, let me throw that question back to you all. What has been your experience as far as Baylor being an unapologetically Christian institution?
Yeah, so personally, for me, I am a Christian, and couldn't be happier about that. But I am glad that Baylor is an unapologetic Christian university and accepts students from different backgrounds that may not necessarily be Christian, because I think that's what Jesus would do.
Exactly.
So I think he invites everyone in, and we get to have those loving conversations and talk about our beliefs together. And I think a lot of the religion requirements here at Baylor make it very easy for all students to succeed regardless of religious background.
Exactly right.
I second that. I am a Christian. I decided to go to Baylor because I went to public school my whole life, and I felt like if the truth for us, like the Bible, is true, then why are we not accepting that in our search for truth in academics? But on the other side of that, obviously you don't have to be a Christian to be at Baylor. I think it really shines through in the compassion that the professors have for you, that they're praying for us and that they care for us. That I've had professors who they give us their phone number, and they just say, hey, like if you're in a tough spot or whatever, no judgment at all. Like I just want you to be safe and I care about you. And that's so much better than just academics. Even if you're not a Christian, they still love you the same. And so just getting that care that you wouldn't get somewhere else.
Awesome. And if you are a believer, it's also a place that will strengthen your faith. You'll have those opportunities throughout your time here at Baylor University. And I get an opportunity to speak at a lot of different venues all across the country. And one of the things that I really enjoy telling people, and one of the aspects we just achieved a few years ago, and that's the R1, the Research One. And to be honest, when I first heard about R1 about 10 years ago, I didn't even know what it was. But when my wife, President Livingstone, came here in her inaugural address, she said that is one of her goals, is that we become a top-tier research institution, which is a Research One, an R1 institution. That's when we kept hearing it over and over again. But when I speak into these different places, one of the things I love being able to tell people is that if you're looking for a total college experience, there's no school in the United States like Baylor University. And let me tell you why. Number one, we're in a Power 5 athletic conference. That's the top of the athletic world in the United States. We are an R1 institution. Now, there are thousands of universities and colleges in the United States. Only 147 of them are R1. Baylor University has a seat at the table with the Ivy Leaguers, with some of the highest, most elite schools in the nation. And amongst that, especially in the Protestant realm, Baylor University is the only one in the Power 5 and the R1 that still openly professes the name of Jesus Christ. We're it. And it's exciting to be a part of that. And the doors that have opened up because of that are really exciting. And that's why we want you to be a part of this too, because this, I tell people, it's always been great to be a Baylor Bear. It's never been greater than right now. This is an exciting place to be. And yeah, so let me ask you guys a question. All of you have very diverse fields of study. Why did you choose that, and what do you hope to do with that? Because as you know, there are a lot of students out there wondering, what am I supposed to major in? How did you come to your determination on what you wanted to major in, and hopefully, of course, get a job in later on down the road? So what was that process like? Because I know there's a lot of high school students that are wondering, okay, what do I do?
I can start.
Go for it.
I was undecided for a long time, I won't lie. I think I finally decided sophomore year of college, second semester. But I went through a ton of different things. I went through ministry, creative writing, graphic design, and then I ended up at marketing. I think I just, at every step of the way, God taught me something and showed me a part of myself something that I was good at. And then finally, I avoided business for so long because I didn't want to wear a suit. I was like, I don't want to do that every day. But I bit the bullet. I went business, and because I knew it would get me a job, I was like, Baylor has a good business school. I'll go there. And then I found marketing because it's the most creative, I think, in the business school. And I realized that I'm pretty good with numbers.
Oh, there you go.
It worked out for me. So they set you up so well with success. The Career Center, I mean, in the business school, we take, I think, 3 classes that are taught by the Career Center throughout our experience, just making sure we have that LinkedIn, that resume that's updated, and that we're making connections while we're in school so that when we graduate, we have people that we know, we have jobs lined up, and we have a good chance at success. So.
And that Paul Foster Business Campus, that is unbelievable.
Gorgeous.
From what I hear too, students from all over the campus go there to study. You don't have to be a business major.
I am indeed a science major, and I can firsthand tell you, I love studying in the business school.
Oh, I can
Always.
see why. That
It's
is
beautiful.
so amazing. That is so amazing. So how about the two of you?
Yeah, so when I was a high school senior, I didn't really know what I wanted to do yet. And when I was applying to different schools, I was looking at their honors programs and seeing what they had to offer. And the University Scholars Program here is the original honors program, but I wasn't really into all the great texts and world cultures. That wasn't really my thing. But then I heard about Business Fellows, which is the honors program, the highest level honors program within the business school, and I applied to that. And I got accepted to it. And the general gist of Business Fellows is it's design your own major almost. So you take 31 core hours of business, which is your Business Fellows major, and then you get other secondary majors off of that. And so for someone who didn't know what to do, that was a dream come true. I was like, oh, I kind of like some of these things, so I'll just take some classes. And if I end up liking them, I'll pursue majors in them. And so I loved economics, so actually getting to go abroad this winter and taking an economics of pirates course with my favorite economics professor in London. So that's going to be a ton of fun. Very excited about that.
Did you say economics of pirates?
Yes, I did say that.
You have to wear an eye patch and
I hope
everything,
so.
or-
I really hope so.
And a hood. That's awesome. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I also enjoyed Spanish, and usually getting an economics and Spanish major concurrently would be fairly difficult. But with Business Fellows, it really opened up doors to help me be able to do that. And I also went studying abroad 2 summers ago to Madrid, where I was able to take Spanish civilizations and an advanced cultures class, which Spanish civilizations, while you're in Madrid and going around and seeing things you're learning about in class, was really special. And so that was a great experience for me, and that's why I chose Business Fellows.
And Ben, you're a junior, right?
Yes, sir.
Jillian, you're a senior. You're graduating
Yes,
in
sir.
May.
Yes, sir.
That's exciting times, yes.
Yeah.
Very good, yeah. And that's one of the things, too. We have over 100 different programs for abroad study at Baylor University. And I remember centuries ago when I graduated from college, I played ball in Europe, and it was life-changing. It opened up my eyes that there's a whole nother world out here, and I would imagine that was kind of your experience as well.
Totally different. It was great.
It was fantastic, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a pre-med student. I'm studying biology and Spanish on the pre-med track, and so For me, like high school, I was passionate about a lot of things. I love science, I love biology, like genetics, that's my concentration. I love genetics, and I'm such a nerd for that, but I also love math and all of that. And so I kind of was all over the place and like, oh, I want to be an engineer, or oh, I want to be like a doctor and all of that. And then so my father got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, and so I always found myself in the hospital. Like we'd watch football games together, basketball games, like we'd be hanging around. And so I got a lot of time to interact with physicians, doctors who were coming in, nurses who were coming in. And so like as a high school student, I got nothing better to do. So I'm asking the nurse, like, what is this? What is that? Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? And learning, like getting, I guess, a little bit of an inside scoop from doctors and physicians who are working with, not only my father, but my family and things like that. And so after 3-4 years of going through that, I was like, I came to the conclusion, like applying for Baylor, like, and getting in, I knew I wanted to come to Baylor. I like loved Baylor. And so when it's time to pick a major and I thought about all the things that I wanted to do, the first thing that came to mind was like exactly what these nurses and doctors did for my dad, like autoimmune diseases, especially like immunology. I have to do that. Like I want to help people. And that, like, my passion lies in helping people. And so that's kind of how I ended up coming to the decision. I was like, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to do biology with the concentration in genetics and stick this out. I want to find a way to integrate genetics into medicine and do that kind of thing. And so that's kind of how it kind of just was around my life. I was around it a lot. And so came into Baylor, and I'm trying to do it myself as well. And then kind of similar to Ben, while I was at Baylor, Baylor does a really good job. And you're going to hear it a lot throughout the night, but inclusiveness. They're super inclusive. And like, if you're interested in something and you have a passion in something, Baylor does such a good job with like giving you the opportunity to explore those things. And so I took Spanish classes in high school. I was not very great at all. And so, but I was interested in it. And my advisor was like, well, you're a freshman, you need an extra class. Like if you want to take elementary Spanish, you can give it a shot. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I like Spanish. And I love, my Spanish teacher did such a good job, like just inspiring. She was so passionate about what she taught that it inspired me to want to be really good at Spanish and things like that. So I also jumped ship onto Spanish. I'll be studying abroad in Madrid soon in the summer. So I'll be out there soon. Yeah, summer 2024, Madrid, I'll be there. And that'll be fun. So I love Spanish. I love Baylor and my major, and that's kind of how I ended up here. And it's been great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so you talked about how Baylor gives you an opportunity to do a lot of things. I know I had some great advisors. What are y'all's experience with advisors? I'll talk about mine a little bit first because I was undecided. I think my advisor had a little bit of a harder time with me than most people. But I had an advisor as graphic design, which is what I came into Baylor with. And then I kind of decided that wasn't my thing about halfway through that semester. And I talked with my advisor, and then they sent me to another advisor for undecided majors, like specifically. And she was awesome. She basically just sat me down. She was like, what are you thinking? And I said, well, I don't know. I think I'm good at talking to people. And she was like, you would love the business school. And so she kind of just explained the classes to me and everything and got me signed up. But then even the advisor I had after that, he took notes about our conversation from the semester before. And then so the next time I met with him, he was like, are you still wanting to study abroad? Are you still thinking you want to minor in this and all of this stuff? And so I just felt really taken care of and really like known and seen. But how do y'all feel?
Okay.
Good advisors?
Yeah, absolutely. Personally, I love my advisor. I'm also a little bit biased. My advisor is my favorite economics professor, Dr. North. Okay. So the business fellows have advisors like that, and he's been my advisor for all 3 years. He's wonderful. I love him. And he's going to teach the economics of pirates class, actually, I'm taking. It'll be my 3rd class with him. So, huge fan of Dr. North. Take him if you have the chance, guys.
I'm intrigued by that title.
Yes.
I want to find out more.
He's
yes.
wonderful.
That's awesome.
He's very helpful as my advisor. So he has like my degree plan all laid out. I actually showed up late to my advising appointment earlier this week. No. I was like 15 minutes late.
Go ahead and apologize.
And sorry, Dr. North, if you're watching this, I apologize. But when I got there, he'd already laid it out. He's like, okay, these are the 5 classes you need to take next semester to complete your majors on time. And I said, okay. He said, these are the professors you should take. And it was good to go. I was like, oh, thank you. Good to see you.
Right.
We talked a little bit about we play Fantasy Premier League together also. And so we love chopping it up, talking about European soccer. And so that's also a ton of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, my advising was pretty similar to Jillian's. I came in, I told her, like, I want to do science. I want to be a biology major. Like, I don't know if I can do it, but I want to give it a shot. Like, I want to do medical school and go this route. My advisor, like, first she was like, oh, you can do this. Like, look, like, he's like, you're plenty capable. The fact that you're at Baylor, like, means that you have the capabilities and you're able to be able to succeed and thrive at this university. So if you want to do science, pursue science. And so encourage me, firstly and foremost. And then secondly, Miss Garcia, that's my counselor and my advisor. She was the one that also, like, pushed me, like, to do Spanish as well. Like, I was telling her, literally, I'd sit in there on the couch, I'd be like, listen, Miss Garcia, like, I think I like Spanish. Oh my gosh, she got so happy about it. It was like, you should take, like, oh my gosh, like, that'd be great. And so, like, kind of similar with all of us, but my advisor did a really good job. Same thing, like, what I'm passionate about, what I like to do, and if there's things that I would like to test out or experiment with, my advisor, like, does not hesitate to help me out, and will guide me and keep me straight and narrow on my science path, but also give me the option to explore other classes, other passions that I like, Spanish, and things like that as well. So I love my advisor, and advising here has been super easy as well. So I've only got a few more appointments until senior year, which is so sad. But
Well, here's a word of incentive for all three of you. Make sure that your advisor knows how thankful you are. Go up and say thank you. You never know when that word of encouragement would help. Lynn and I, one of the great things about being the First Gen is we travel all over. We get a chance to visit with alums. And speaking of advisors, we were in, I think, Kansas City, a business graduate, business school graduate, very successful, and he was talking about his advisor. And this is what he said. He said it was the two of them. They're working on their schedules, and all of a sudden, his advisor says, "Have you asked God what God wants you to do with this?" And he said, "I hadn't even given that a second thought." And he told his advisor, and his advisor says, "Let me ask you this: don't you think that it would be wise to ask the architect of the universe what he could do to help you plan your future?" And the alum got emotional. He said that was life-changing. He said, we prayed right there in the office, and it got me on a track to not only be successful in business and be a successful business person, but for me to make sure that when I make decisions that I make sure that God is in the midst of it. He said it changed my life right then and there. So we hear stories like that a lot. So let me ask you this. There's a lot of high school students out there right now that are, you guys all know, you fill out all of these college applications, you send them all out. What was it in your experience that you decided Baylor's it? What was it that you decided this is where I want to be?
I think, so I fell in love with the campus on my tour, but I still had applied to another school for my transfer. I think I realized in the Whataburger parking lot at 11 p.m. the day that my application was due, I went and checked on it, and it said it hadn't submitted, and my stomach dropped. I was like, there's no way. I think I need to go to Baylor. And what happened, they needed my resume or something, so it was something I could complete sitting there in Whataburger parking lot. But I submitted it, and I sent it in, and I was like, oh, if I don't get in now, now I know what I want, so.
Okay, I love this question. I love this depth. So there's a couple things, and for me, when I toured, it really just, I had that feeling like when I came on campus, you guys got to come to campus, like take a tour, it's great. And when I was on campus, like, just something about it just felt like home. And then I'm a big like logic guy, like pros and cons list, all that jazz. And when it came down to it, the three things I was really looking for was like a good academics, that was semester successful after college. Sure. Solid athletics. I'd be lying if winning the national championship my senior year of high school did not at least slightly affect my college decision. And then the really thing that has kept, like, makes me love Baylor so much is the Christian community I found here. I've met the guys that are going to stand next to me in my wedding, the guys I'm going to call my friends for the rest of my life, and I only have Baylor to thank for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Mason, what about you?
Yeah, I also love this question too. So yeah, my experience was a little unique. I'm from Houston. So, Texas area, born and raised my whole life. And so I was super adamant junior year on going out of state. I was like, Mom, like California, New York, like Oregon, I don't care, Mom. She's not going to be in Texas. And then my mom was like, all right, let's at least go check out the big schools. And so, I'm a mama's boy. My mom tells me to do something. I'm going to at least go get done. At the end
You're
of
a
the day.
smart boy, dude. Yes, that's good.
And so we toured the bigger schools in Texas. And so Baylor was the last university we stopped by on the round trip back to Houston. And I came in, I was super stubborn, like, oh my gosh, like, okay, this campus tour, like, let's just get in and out of here. And from the moment I stepped on that shuttle, like, on that campus tour, it was the best decision I've ever been on. That tour changed everything for me, like, the way that I viewed Baylor, the way that I viewed universities in general. It was so great. The Christian community here, I got to talk to a few alumni and students who were around in the area at our old visitor center. My tour guide was also a biology major, which at the time is what I was planning on going into still. So he was giving me just great information, and so it was just a perfect matchmaking, I guess, tour guide to student, and also like just the fellowship that they showed me while I was on that campus tour. That was everything for me, and so I went back home, told my mom like, okay, I think I like Baylor. She was like, I told you. He was like, yeah, you're right. And so, yeah, fast forward, senior year, I came back for another tour just because I liked it that much. And it was kind of just rising up in my, going up and up in my class or university choices. And it was kind of in my top 10 and floated in my top 5 and then my top 3. And then once I realized that every other university that I toured, I always compared it back to Baylor. I was like, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to be a Baylor Bear coming up. So I kind of just, told my mom like 2 weeks before decision day, I was like, Mom, I think I'm going to go to Baylor. She was like, let's do it. And then we made it happen. I'm here.
Sickle
and it's
Bears.
been a great 2 years. Yeah, sick 'em. So
I'd tell you, I've lost count how many people that were still trying to decide, and they come on a tour. And that sealed the deal for them. So anytime I see the tour guides on their golf carts, their extended golf carts, I make sure I stop and thank them because they do such a great job of really sharing their love for this university. And and anytime I'm walking Boo, our dog, we have a Labradoodle named Boo, spelled B-U, of course. We'll go right up to them and the people who are visiting too, just so they understand that this is a very special place. And those tours, that's why regardless of where you end up going or what your number one is right now, make sure you put boots on the ground. Go and visit that campus. And of course, we want you to visit this campus as well. We want you to be here at Baylor University. It is a game changer. You need to be here on campus and see all the things that are so exciting about this. And again, I've lost count too on how many people that I visited with that didn't go to Baylor. They're alums of other schools, but they have children or grandchildren that went here, and they'll come up to me and say, I love my alma mater, but there's something different in a very, very positive way about Baylor University. My grandkids or my kids, they're over the top on how they feel about Baylor University. And what do you think causes that? What would be, I know we've kind of touched on that, but what would be some of the things that would make individuals outside of Baylor University see Baylor University for what it really is and a really exciting place to be? Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think a lot of it, for me. This is not trademark, guys, but I love to say Baylor is the Chick-fil-A of universities.
Oh,
so you still got that national.
We all know what that means. Yes.
National level brand, top tier customer service, and by that I mean like the community and what you feel when you go to Chick-fil-A's. I mean, I love Chick-fil-A, big Chick-fil-A fan. This is not a product placement. I'm not getting paid for this, I promise. But
so we've got Whataburger, we've got Chick-fil-A.
What you got, Mason?
There you go.
Pick a restaurant.
fan right here.
We're getting around to this.
But yeah, the national level success with still that like family Christian community, I think that's what makes Baylor really special. And I think that's what you feel when you come on campus.
Yeah.
I think for me, one is the high caliber academics in a way that's not set you up to fail. Because I think a lot of times you go into a hard class and then you've heard about it, it's going to be a little difficult. I just have a moment every single time when I think, I can do this. It's not impossible. your professors are there to help you,
Yeah.
and they're overly helpful.
Yeah.
They're not there to try to fail you or try to have the hardest class by any means. The tougher the subject is, the more they help, honestly. And then another thing is just, it's wholesome and it's sweet, like Chick-fil-A. Like, everyone is so kind. We got the Southern hospitality for sure, but also it's not judgy. So it's not like you feel like you have to be a certain type of person or act a certain type of way in order to receive the love and the, like, I don't know, just community. You can be yourself and you can be fully yourself. I'm a big crier, and I haven't cried much on campus, but I would be lying if I said that I didn't cry at least once. And I tell all the girls this, that I'm like, freshman girls, I'm like, you can't cry on campus if you don't want to be hugged by at least 3 people, and they might be strangers. Like,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
people just, they see you and they want to help you in any way they can. And so that's another thing, is just the community.
And I'm a high school teacher, and I've taught on the East Coast and the DC area, the West Coast and the LA area. And I remember students, when I was teaching in the LA area, students coming to Baylor, and then when they come back to my classroom, I say, how'd it go? How'd it go? They're the friendliest people. I had people say hi to me. I don't even know who they are. And it really is that way. It's a very, very friendly, welcoming campus. And I love that part of Baylor University. So did any of you, and I really don't know the answer to this, when you decided Baylor is it, did obviously you had to go to orientation. Did any of you go to Baylor Line Camp as well?
Sure.
Okay, but
So
as a transfer
jealous.
student, that's a little bit different, right?
Well, I could have gone. I wish I
Oh.
could have. I was studying abroad basically the week after I got accepted for a month, and then I was coming straight to Waco. And
Okay.
so I didn't have
Okay.
time to go to line camp, but I
Okay.
hear so much about it. I'm
So-
so jealous I
Yeah,
missed.
yeah, and so gentlemen, tell the students what line camp is and what your experience in line camp was as well.
Yeah, so line camp. So after you put your deposit down to Baylor, you say, I'm going to be a Baylor Bear. It's Sick'em country. It's time. The next thing you're going to start getting some emails about is line camp. That'll be your next step. And typically how it works is that it's kind of an orientation process here. So the first day, it's a Monday. It is like a traditional university orientation. Your parents will be there. You'll go to mock kind of info sessions where they'll kind of debrief you. If you're a biology major, you'll have a biology debrief. If you're a business major, business debrief, and kind of split off in different areas of campus. You'll reconvene and then kind of conclude. And that is kind of the first day. After that, your parents leave. Tuesday to Friday, it is just you, the student, you and about 200 to 300 other incoming freshmen will be living together on campus. You'll be going to mock classes. You'll be checking out. You'll go to our original campus in Independence, Texas, where we were originally founded about 80 miles west of Houston. You'll get to receive your line jersey that you're going to need to run the Baylor line, and of course, you'll meet tons of good friends here. That was the big thing with my line camp, and one thing that I can take away. I came into line camp, I knew nobody. I was one of 3 students who came from my high school to Baylor University, and nonetheless, none of them also were in my line camp group. So I was definitely went in. I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know anybody, and all of that. I'm about to get just be sleeping with a roommate. Like what's about to happen? And those 4 days were some of the best 4 days, and one of the just an introduction into Baylor, like a perfect introduction into Baylor, and I could have not asked for a better experience. So I met a lot of the friends that I have to this day now at line camp. We go way back to line camp, that week, exploring, going through Independence, Texas, playing games together, staying up late together, playing cards. All of those experiences I had at line camp, and it's great. So that's kind of my
I would say absolutely. The community is a huge part of line camp. So you get to do all those fun traditions that Mason talked about. But for me, the most important thing was the 11 other incoming freshmen that I got to know intimately in about 3 days. So Line Camp does a great job of facilitating intimate conversations with one another, and that really builds the bonds of friendship quickly between you and your other Line Camp group members. And you also have an upperclassman that's there kind of helping you along, being that mentor for you. And the last night, this is my favorite part of my campus, the last night. The last night you stay up all night. We played Capture the Flag on Fountain Mall. We had a karaoke night in the basement of the Student Union building. And it was a great time. We loved it. And then we just stayed up kind of walking around campus on top of the parking garages like all night until we watched the sunrise together. And it was like the perfect cap to getting these 11 like super close friends. And so then when we came back to campus, we all got back together and was like, what's up, guys? And before we even started class, we already had this group of friends before we'd even started class. And we took all of our out-of-state Baylor Bears to Buc-ee's. So we drove 30 minutes south to Temple and had to visit the greatest gas station on earth. So,
Never been to a Buc-ee's? I'm the Baylor this time.
that's yours.
You can't describe Buc-ee's, right? You just have to
You just gotta
experience
go.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Well, we talked about the line jersey. We should talk about running the line because that's one of the best parts of your first year, I think. It was one of my favorite parts, at least.
And a lot of people that are watching right now, they don't have any idea what does it mean to be a Baylor line? What does it mean to run the Baylor line? So were you all able to run the Baylor line at
Yeah.
football
Yeah.
games?
Absolutely.
So what is that? Explain.
So every home game as a freshman, you put on your Baylor line jersey before every football game, and you are getting this tunnel essentially before every football game. And about 10 minutes before the game starts, they play a hype video for you on the giant jumbotron in the stadium, and it says, "A tradition like no other. Here comes the Baylor line." And the entire stadium's cheering, bases pulsing through the stadium, and you make the maddest dash of your life with you and 3,000 of your best friends from one corner of the field to the other. So you get to run on the field before the game and make a human tunnel for the football team to run out of. There's fireworks, pyrotechnics, the whole 9 yards, and the football team runs out, you high-five them, and then you as freshmen get the best seats in the
my
entire
goodness, yes.
football stadium, the 13 golden bleachers right behind the opposing team's bench, where you get to share all those nice, loving Christian things you learned in your Christian scriptures classes with the opposing team from the stands. It's the best tradition, all of college football, hands down.
I totally agree. My view on it is a little less football oriented. I'm not gonna lie. It's probably just because I'm not very good at football. But, everyone who's ever come to Baylor is a part of the line, and that's my favorite part.
Right.
I mean, that day running the line, that's incredible. But even after that, like people will wear their grandparents' line jerseys, and my grandkids are gonna be wearing my line jersey.
There you go. That's it. Yes.
It's the Baylor lineage, which is what Baylor line is short of, or for, and the Baylor lineage is unlike anything else. It's almost like joining the alumni, but as a freshman student, as a first year, you get to join something so much bigger. And I remember being a transfer and just standing there in the crowd of bright gold jerseys, just thinking, I'm a part of something now. Like, I'm a Baylor student.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
That is awesome. So we're about to wrap up here, but anything else that we need to share with these individuals that are watching right now?
Quick take, your favorite Baylor tradition.
Ooh. Obviously, I'm partial to running the line, as you may have gathered. But other than that, all university Thanksgiving, underrated. You get a bunch of Thanksgiving food and you get to eat with your friends. It's just really relaxing right before you go home for Thanksgiving break. I know especially this year, I loved eating Thanksgiving dinner with my Baylor family before I got to go home to my
It's really
actual
good
family.
food,
Oh,
too.
so good. It's so good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm a big Christmas on 5th guy. I love Christmas season.
That is
It's
so
just in
good.
general when the weather starts getting cold, this big grin is just on my face for the next 90 days. It's great. And so Christmas on 5th, that's my favorite tradition. They have so many different things. Like obviously there's no class, a little bit of a break right before finals, and so you'll get to relax. They brought a Ferris wheel out. They'll have obstacle courses out. They'll have they made an ice skating rink last year with some fake snow going on because this is Texas. We're definitely not getting real snow. And so I love Christmas on 5th, the break that you get. They also had a miniature parade thing going on too as well.
Yeah,
Last Christmas on 5th as well. So
What
I love
about
Christmas.
you?
My favorite's Dia de Oso,
Oh,
Spanish
yeah.
for Day of the Bear. I just imagine Dr. Livingstone in her beautiful office saying every year, our Baylor students, they work too hard. We need to give them a day off. And then they
Absolutely.
have just a huge celebration on campus. We have Ferris wheel, goat yoga,
A lot of
intramural tournament, concerts, anything you can think of. So,
And mine, of course, is homecoming.
yeah.
Homecoming when everybody comes back on, and that's really a lot of fun. A lot of fun to bring the alumni back and then have a great football game and all the activities that take place, including the bonfire as well. So my understanding is that we're wrapping up now, and I want to absolutely thank Mason and Ben and Jillian for being here, sharing your experiences, because you were an observer at one time too, wanting to know, is Baylor the fit? Is Baylor where I should be? And I hope that you have seen that, yes, Baylor is the place we want you. Baylor is a place that you want to be. So as the first gent of Baylor University, just want to say thank you. Thank you, students, for being here. And can we finish with the Sick'em Bears? Yeah, here we go. You'll learn this. Here we go. Are we ready?
Ready.
All right. Hey, Sick'em Bears!
Let's go.
Good night.